Well, good morning. Welcome to Tuesday's Thought for the Day. There are some people who it's just good to be with, good to work with, good to have around, aren't they? People who, and for me, I think that the people who I value most are people who have a wisdom, um, who are able to help me see things differently by their wise perspective. Um, but I think the ones I value most are the ones who offer that wisdom, but also sometimes make me feel uncomfortable. And as I think about what they said, I said, I want to say yes, 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 but. And that yes, but for me opens up a point where I can see and understand things in a new way for myself. And Terry is one of those people for me at the moment. I'm just so grateful to God for bringing him here at this time to work with me at St Albans. We were both licensed in the same week last year, and we've developed our ministry here together. And Thought for the Day is one of the things that emerged. I think it was probably his idea in the first place, but it's one that's emerged and we've worked on together. And on yesterday's Thought for the Day, he was talking about acceptance. He was giving an important warning against insensitivity, against not accepting people who they are, giving people the impression that we just want to change them, leading them to places where they feel rejected, warning against sort of going in feet first with a this is how you need to change. Another great reminder of the need to be very, very good listeners, something that we've talked about many times on Thought for the Day over the last few months. And he took us at the end of that thought to Jesus as an example, a wonderful example of acceptance. And it made me think, well, did Jesus always accept people? And I thought, well, yes and no. And he was extraordinarily perceptive, wasn't he? He understood how people really were. He saw through the front they wanted to put on to the real person, and he related to the real person. He never made some assumption about who they were, good or bad, and just assumed that and related to them on that basis. He related deeply to them. He listened. He was there alongside people. But at the same time, he wasn't afraid to challenge them. He wasn't, in many ways, a model of sensitivity. You brood of vipers, blind guides, snakes, he called people at times. But what I did notice is that the the more powerful people were, the more blunt he was with them, the more vulnerable, the more gentle. It wasn't blind acceptance of how they were. I mean, think of the woman caught in adultery. Yes, he turned away those who were going to stone her. But as she stood up, he said to her, now go and sin no more. Go and leave your life of sin. He called her a sinner. That's not maybe what we'd think of as acceptance. But he was very, very gentle with her. And I thought that's such a contrast, isn't it, with us? We are cautious about offending people in positions of power. We may be a bit cautious in the way we approach things. We're not so concerned with those who are weak and we're in the powerful place. Think of the guy in the Indian call center who's making a tiny amount of money, making making calls for some scammer to tell us that our internet's been disconnected. Are we gentle with him? He's in an extraordinarily weak and vulnerable position, probably unable to make money any other way. Being offered this job, gradually discovering that the guy he's working for is a crook. Are we gentle with that vulnerable person? Think of Jesus with when he was invited to dinner at a Pharisee's house, and a woman who lived a sinful life came and anointed his feet with perfume. She was a sinner, but he was gentle with her. He was an upright man, but he was in a position of power, and Jesus was very blunt with him. He said, he said, I came into your house. You didn't give me any water for my feet. You didn't give me a kiss. You didn't put oil on my head. He said, you haven't treated me the right way. You haven't shown me the respect that you should have shown a guest. Very blunt with the person in a position of power. Very gentle with the vulnerable. It's not always obvious, though, who is vulnerable. I noticed that Jesus was remarkably gentle with Pilate. He could have said to Pilate, well, if you kill me, you're going to have the blood of the Son of God on your hands. That's what he said effectively to the religious teachers a couple of days earlier in the parable of the tenants. But when he's with Jesus, with Pilate, Jesus is gentle. Is that your idea, he said, or did someone tell you? You say that I am, but actually. And I think he sees that even in this powerful man, there is a deep vulnerability. He's caught between the baying crowd, the manipulating religious leaders, and his own bosses in Rome. He may have an official's robe, but he's vulnerable, and Jesus is gentle with the vulnerable. So maybe we can learn from Jesus not just acceptance, but also that his gentleness with the vulnerable, but also his courage to confront power when it's being abused. But Terry's also given me another yes but, which is it really always right to treat Jesus as a good example? But I think that's material for another thought for the day. So may God bless you through today. I'll talk to you again on Friday.